People do not understand the real problem with porn addiction, and the effect that porn has on our lives. The Nofap community, people who are on Nofap, mostly think about porn in the wrong way, and it's actually one of the main reasons why they cannot quit and why porn has so much control over these people's lives. This is going to sound very strange from someone who makes a lot of videos about Nofap, quitting porn, and literally helps people to quit porn through a course that I offer. But porn isn't the devil. Porn isn't the ultimate evil. Porn isn't necessarily even bad for you in small amounts. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are a porn addict, then you might want to completely quit it, and still doing it in small amounts can keep you addicted to it. So that's not at all what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to help you understand the true problem of porn. You see, porn in and of itself isn't that much of a problem. If you take a guy that has never watched porn in his life and you make that guy watch porn once, and it's just once, the guy has no option to watch porn again. He just watches porn once. It has practically no effect on his life at all. Nothing. Okay? If you take that same guy and you let him watch porn once a month, and again, he has no option to watch porn more often than once a month, right? So he cannot get addicted to it. He just watches porn once a month. It will probably also have no effect on his life at all. Maybe we could even go up to twice a month. Once a week? Might be pushing it. But once, twice a month, the guy could probably watch porn once, twice a month, and the porn would have no effect on his life at all. Let's just say once a month. He watches it once a month. Watching the porn once a month will probably not give him any weird fetishes, because he only watches it once a month, and so when he watches the porn, any type of random vanilla video will be enough for him, right? He doesn't have to go to like the more perverse categories. He doesn't need that. He only watches it once a month, and it's just one fap, right? It's not like a 4-hour etching session or anything. It's just one little fap. He just watches one 5 or 10 minute video and he just rubs one out. So it will probably not destroy his dopamine system. Even if it is a 1-hour session once a month, it will probably not destroy your dopamine system that much, because it's just once a month, right? You'll have the entire rest of the month to recover. So nothing will really happen. Porn itself isn't that bad for you if you don't do it that much. The real problem is the fact that we do it too often, that it's too easily accessible, because it's on our computers and it's on our smartphones, and as soon as we're alone in our room for a single minute, we can whip out our smartphone and start looking up some porn. And also the fact that we have a reason to watch porn, which is usually a feeling. You're feeling bad, you're feeling bored, you're feeling whatever, right? It's a feeling of negative emotions. You're feeling something negative, and then you're trying to make yourself feel better by watching the porn. And sometimes this is as simple as just being a little bit bored. It doesn't have to mean that you're like deeply depressed or anything. Sometimes you're just bored and you just spend a lot of time alone. But there's some sort of negative feeling and you want to watch the porn to make yourself feel better. So it's the fact that we have the negative feelings plus the fact that it's too easy to access and that we do it too often that is bad for us. That is where the problem starts. Because when you do it too often, that's why you start to numb your dopamine system, and that's why you start to develop more specific preferences, because over time, watching any random video doesn't cut it anymore, so you start watching more specific videos, etc. And you develop fetishes, and then you struggle to get it up from the real thing, blah, 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 all of that. That's where the problems start, right? Porn itself, in some way, you could say that porn itself isn't really the problem. It's kind of like drugs. Heroin, pretty bad for you, right? We all know that. Heroin, if you get addicted to heroin, then man, your life's probably going to be messed up. But I'm not a heroin addict. You're probably not a heroin addict. So, you know, what's the problem with heroin, right? I care about heroin for all the people addicted. I feel sorry for them and their families and stuff. But I am personally not worrying about heroin. I'm not going about my day thinking, oh shit, man, oh heroin, gonna make sure not use some heroin today, right? Even though heroin is something that is supposedly very fun to use and very addictive and very bad for you. But we don't go around worrying about heroin, right? So heroin itself is not really the problem for us. It's these circumstances that create the problem surrounding heroin. Being in certain circumstances, right? You have certain feelings, you've had a certain troubled life, you have certain traumas, a lot of negative emotions, and then the heroin's easy to access because you are in a certain environment, you know people that also use the heroin, and then you start using the heroin. That's how the problem exists. Now, porn is a little different from heroin because porn is everywhere for everyone, right? It's on our computers and our phones, so it's much easier to access than heroin is, which is why so many more people struggle with porn. But I think it's very important to realize how the problem works, and that porn itself kind of isn't really the problem if you want to tackle the problem. Because how can you fix the problem if you keep telling yourself that porn is the devil, right? And you're going to keep yourself in a downward spiral. Because first of all, you're not really focusing on the true problems. You're not really trying to tackle the underlying problems, which is like your life and the accessibility of porn, right? The negative feelings that you have. If you really want to quit your addiction, then you're going to have to focus more on your underlying feelings, and you're going to have to understand what these feelings are, and you're going to have to find ways to deal with these feelings that are not watching porn. But secondly, and this is one of the big ones, is that you are going to keep yourself stuck in this negative mindset where you think that if you've watched porn for like a single second, or let's just say one time, right? You've relapsed to porn after a month of going without porn. People think that they've lost all their progress and that they've made a terrible, terrible mistake, right? Because watching porn is bad for you, and now they've watched porn again, so oh my God, all is lost and they have completely messed up. And this is not true at all. Because like I said, you can watch porn once a month and it will probably not destroy your dopamine system or give you fetishes or anything. Now, hey, again, if you're trying to quit porn, then don't use this as an excuse to start watching porn once a month, because you probably do want to quit it altogether. Because if you continue to watch it once a month right now, then you're probably going to keep your fetishes intact, and it's going to be more likely that you do it more than once a month, and so it's going to have some effect on your dopamine system, etc. It is a good idea to just quit it completely, but you have to understand that when you do make a mistake and you do relapse, that not everything is lost. So many people on Nofap, whenever they relapse, they completely beat themselves up about it. And they think, oh, damn, everything is lost. All my progress. I've went without it for 1 month and it was all for nothing right now, because now I relapsed and I'm still an addict, and oh my God. And because they think this, they experience even more negative emotion, which is like the true underlying problem, why they watch porn. And so now they experience even more negative emotion. Their self-confidence is destroyed, and so they're even more likely to watch porn again and again and again and again. And every time they watch porn again, the vicious circle continues, because they lose even more belief in themselves, they experience even more negative emotion. and everything goes down the drain. They get stuck in this downward spiral. Well, instead, they could have just told themselves, hey, that's pretty fucking cool. I went without it for a month. A month long did I not numb my dopamine system like I used to. A month long did I recover my brain from my fetishes, and I can already get more aroused from just seeing regular girls. And now I've relapsed once, which was a mistake. Yeah, I shouldn't do it again. But I've relapsed once, and this one single time doesn't do anything to my dopamine system. It doesn't really do anything to my fetishes. I mean, I've still kind of unlearned my fetishes for a whole fucking month. So this is pretty fucking great. A month. Now I'm going to go even longer, right? That's what you could have told yourself. And you would have increased the belief in yourself. You would have gotten a positive outlook on life. And you probably would have gone for longer than a month after that relapse. But because people don't really understand what the true problem is, and they think that porn is the devil, and that if you watch porn once, then oh my God, then you've messed up, and then you've made a terrible mistake, they actually keep themselves stuck in the addiction. So I want you to know this. Yes, porn is the problem, but it kinda also isn't. The true underlying problems are the fact that you experience negative feelings in your life and that you haven't developed healthy ways to deal with these negative feelings that aren't watching porn, seeking instant gratification in the form of sexual pleasure. And the fact that porn's quite easy to access, which you can kind of work around temporarily with like website blockers and apps and stuff. But mainly the real problem is your feelings, your emotions, and finding a way to deal with them in a healthy way that isn't watching porn. That's the real problem. And porn itself isn't actually a problem if you do it once. Again, if you're an addict, then you might want to quit and you might not want to use this as an excuse to do it once. But if you do make a mistake and you do it once, then please understand that watching porn once does practically nothing to your brain. The negative effects of watching porn come from watching too much porn. So if you relapse, then don't think, oh no, everything was for nothing. No. Keep a positive mindset. Pick yourself back up. And just tell yourself, it was just once, this does nothing to my brain, I'm doing great. Let's keep going. If you want more advice like this, check out the free mini course in the description.